Before this video starts, I want you to remember one thing. In every abandoned town, every ghost village, and every silent road, there is always one place, one single place, where something is still alive. The story you're about to hear belongs to a man who walked straight into that place. A man named Ahmad. His last recording was found on a broken cell phone, laying beside an empty bag in a village that doesn't even exist on the map anymore. People say he disappeared, but his camera captured everything. Ahmad, a travel vlogger, loved abandoned locations, but Kund Valley was different. People warned him. At night, voices echo through that place. Voices from buildings that fell decades ago. He didn't care. Views were views. At 11 p.m., he entered the forest road. The air felt thick, too heavy to breathe. No wind, no animals, just a dead, unnatural stillness. Then tap, 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 someone's footsteps behind him. He turned. No one, yet the footsteps continued, matching every one of his. Something was following him, but not walking on the ground. When he reached Kund Valley, the entire place looked fossilized. Silent houses leaning sideways, doors barely hanging on, broken windows staring like dead eyes. But one house, one single house at the very end, had a warm light glowing inside. A place that should have been impossible to have electricity. Ahmad lifted his camera. "If I don't come back, remember this light wasn't supposed to be here." As he stepped closer, the door slowly swung open, inviting him. Inside, the air was heavy with rot. The stench of something wet, something decayed, something alive. On the wall, written in dried, rust-colored streaks, "Turn back." Ahmad aimed his flashlight downward and froze. Fresh footprints, wet, recently made. Leading into a back room where the doorknob was twitching, turning as if someone inside wanted out. He pushed the door open, and there she was, a woman in a skin-pale white dress. Eyes red like she hadn't slept in weeks. Her face expressionless except for the smallest, wrongest smile. She whispered, "You're late." Ahmad stepped back. "Where are the people who lived here?" Her smile widened. "Still here." She pointed at the walls. "They never left. You just can't see them like I do." Then she leaned close, too close, and her shadow grew across the wall like it had a mind of its own. "Now that you've entered their home, they won't let you leave." He blinked, and she was gone. Only her voice echoed. "Welcome to Kund Valley." Ahmad ran to the exit bridge, but it was gone, completely ripped apart. Before he could react, his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "Don't run. You're not done recording." Ahmad looked at his screen. His camera feed was on, and behind him something stood. Tall, thin, featureless. Waiting for him to turn around. "The video cuts here. Before we continue, you need to understand something about disappearances. People don't just vanish. They are taken, piece by piece, memory by memory, until there's nothing left but an empty shell wandering the place they died. Ahmad didn't just disappear in Kund Valley. Something in that valley wanted him. Something that had waited years for someone with a camera to bring the valley back to life. And part 2 begins the moment he realized he wasn't alone in the footage anymore. Ahmad stared at his phone screen. The live feed clearly showed a tall, faceless figure standing behind him, but when he turned around, there was nothing. No footprints, no movement, only the cold night pressing against his skin. He whispered to himself, "Maybe it's a glitch, maybe it's just..." His phone vibrated again. Another message, "Don't turn around so fast, it doesn't like being seen." Ahmad's heart dropped. Someone or something was watching him through his own camera. He stepped back into the main street. What was silent minutes ago now sounded alive. Doors creaked open one by one. Windows rattled. Shadows moved inside empty houses. The whole village was waking up. A cold whisper brushed Ahmad's ear. "Record it, show them we're still here." Ahmad lifted his flashlight and saw dozens of handprints on every wall. Not old ones, fresh ones, some small like children. Some long, thin, inhuman. Every single handprint pointed toward the same house, the one where he saw the woman. Ahmad swallowed hard. He had no choice. He walked back. Inside the house, everything had changed. The walls shifted, literally moving like they were breathing. The footprints were gone, replaced by a trail of long, dragging marks leading to a door that wasn't there before. A door made of old wood, covered in scratch marks, and a single word carved deep into it. "Stay." Ahmad pushed the door open. Behind it was a room that felt older than the village itself. A single lantern lit the space. In the center, a chair, ropes. Blood stains dried dark on the floor, and sitting on the chair, the same woman in white. Except now her face wasn't human at all. Her mouth stretched too wide. Her eyes were completely black. Her neck bent at an impossible angle. She whispered, "I told you they're all still here." Then she pointed behind him. Ahmed turned around slowly and saw them, dozens of figures standing in the shadows, silent, still, watching him. But when he shined his light at them, they vanished. He stepped back. The woman in white stood up, but she didn't walk, she floated. Her feet never touched the ground. "They haven't eaten in a long time," she whispered. "They need a new story, a new soul." Ahmed backed toward the door, but it slammed shut on its own. The walls began to close in, shrinking the room, trapping him. His camera beeped. A recording started automatically, on its own. Ahmed didn't touch anything. The woman leaned close, her breath freezing the air. "Help us live again, Ahmed. Record the truth, or you will join us forever." The lantern flickered, and every figure in the shadows rushed forward. The screen cut out. "Before we continue, you need to know something horrifying about haunted places. They don't trap people, they collect them. Every scream, every step, every breath becomes part of the place itself. Kund Valley wasn't cursed, it was hungry. Ahmad wasn't the first person it pulled inside. And he might not be the last. Part 3 begins at the exact moment he realized the valley didn't want to kill him. It wanted him to remember its past. The shadowed figures rushed toward Ahmad, and everything went black. But Ahmad didn't feel pain. He didn't hear screams. Instead, he opened his eyes in the same village, except now it wasn't abandoned. Houses were lit. Smoke rose from chimneys. People walked on the street. Kund Valley decades ago. A woman carrying water smiled as she passed him. Children played in the dirt road. Men fixed broken fences. Everything looked normal. But one thing was horribly wrong. Nobody had a face. Smooth skin. No eyes, no mouth, no expression, just featureless people moving as if they didn't know they were missing something. Ahmad whispered, "What is this?" A voice behind him said, "Our beginning." He turned around. The woman in white stood there, but now she looked human, almost beautiful, gentle. She walked beside him like they had known each other for years. "This is how we lived," she said. "A quiet place. A forgotten place." Ahmad asked, "What happened to you all?" She didn't answer immediately. She just kept walking. Then she said something that froze Ahmad's blood. "We didn't die here, we were erased." Ahmad blinked, and suddenly the people around him started losing form. Their bodies pixelated like an old corrupted video. One by one they faded, their faceless heads turning toward Ahmad as if begging for help. The woman whispered, "The world forgot we existed, and when people forget, places rot. Souls rot." She turned to him, her eyes suddenly black again. "But stories bring them back, that's why you were chosen." The sky turned red. Wind howled like a storm from another world. Ahmed saw flashes, houses collapsing, people screaming, ground cracking open. But there was no fire, no war, no disease, just one sound, a deep, thunderous hum echoing across the valley. Ahmed covered his ears. "What is that?" the woman whispered. "The sound of us being forgotten. We disappeared from the world's memory." Ahmed saw the villagers falling to their knees, clutching their heads as their faces melted into blank skin. Children, women, men, all erased. all drifting out of existence like mist in sunlight. The woman grabbed his arm. We stayed behind, trapped in the moment of our erasure, trapped in this valley. Then she leaned closer. And we need someone to remember us. Someone who can tell the story. Ahmad's camera appeared in his hands. It turned on by itself, recording. The vision shattered, and Ahmad was back in the dark room. The faceless figures circled him slowly, waiting for her command. The woman in white hovered above the ground, half human, half something ancient. She whispered, "Tell the world our story or become one of us." Ahmad's flashlight flickered. For the first time, he saw their true faces, people frozen in the moment they vanished, their mouths open in silent screams, their eyes begging for release. The camera beeped. Recording, ON. Ahmad stood shaking and said the last words captured in part 3. "If I don't make it out, whoever finds this, please listen to what happened here." The figures stepped closer. The woman smiled. Darkness swallowed the room. "Before you hear part 4, remember this: some places don't want you to escape. Not because they want to kill you, but because they want to use you. Kund Valley doesn't just trap souls, it feeds on them. Every scream, every memory, every story told inside its borders strengthens the valley itself." Ahmad thought he could run, but in Kund Valley, running isn't escape, it's permission. Permission for the valley to chase you. Ahmad opened his eyes, lying on the cold floor of the house. His camera was still recording. The faceless figures were gone, but their whispers crawled across the walls like insects under the paint. He stood up. The woman in white was nowhere. He grabbed his bag and ran to the exit door. But when he opened it, the outside wasn't the village. It was the same room again. Same lantern, same chair, same scratches on the walls. He tried another door and another, but every door led to the same place. The valley wasn't letting him go. A voice whispered behind him, "You can't walk out of a story until you finish it." Ahmad smashed the window and climbed out. Outside, the village was darker than before, as if the sky itself had died. A narrow path made of dried blood spread across the road, leading toward the abandoned school at the edge of the valley. The whispers grew louder. "This way, follow the forgotten." Ahmed didn't want to, but the ground behind him began to crack open, as if something was crawling beneath the soil. He had no choice. He followed the blood path. With every step, the village around him flickered between past and present. Children running, then vanishing. Men working, then melting into dust. Women smiling, then turning faceless. The valley was showing him its final moments. The school doors opened on their own. Inside, everything was destroyed, chairs overturned, chalkboards cracked, old books torn apart. But the worst part was the sound, a faint recording playing over the broken PA system. A child's voice, repeating the same words, "Please don't forget us." Ahmad froze. The voice sounded familiar, too familiar. He entered the main hallway and saw a row of photos on the wall, class pictures from years ago. But all the faces were scratched off. Every single one except one, a little boy with a camera around his neck. Underneath the photo, Ahmad, age 9, Ahmad's entire body went cold. This isn't possible." The woman's voice echoed behind him. "Now you understand." Ahmad turned around slowly. The woman in white stood in the hallway, half human, half shadow. Her voice was soft, almost motherly. "You didn't wander here, you were called home." Ahmad shook his head. "I was never here as a kid, I don't remember this place." She smiled sadly. "That's the curse of Kund Valley. When the world forgets you, you forget yourself." The pictures on the wall began restoring themselves. Faces reappeared, names reappeared, and then a newspaper clipping materialized on the floor. Ahmad picked it up. The headline: "Entire village of Kund Valley disappears, only one child found alive." The photo showed rescue workers carrying a terrified little boy, the same boy from the school photo. Ahmad. He whispered, "Why don't I remember?" The woman stepped closer. "Because you were the only one who escaped. Your memory had to be erased or you would come back too soon." Her eyes turned black. "But the valley is starving now. It needs you again." The hallway began to shake. Pictures fell off the walls, screams echoed through the building. The valley had awakened, and it wanted him back. He was from Kund Valley. He escaped once, but no one escapes twice. They don't kill people. They rewrite them. Piece by piece, memory by memory, until you become exactly what they need. Ahmad wasn't trapped in Kund Valley because he wandered in. He was trapped because the valley had already chosen him when he was a child. And now, in part 5, it wants to finish what it started. This is the part of the story where escape becomes impossible, where the valley collapses inside itself, where the living and the dead become the same thing. The school hallway twisted around Ahmad like a living maze. Doors melted into the walls. Floors stretched like rubber. Windows shifted into screaming mouths that whispered. "Stay with us." The woman in white floated toward him, her face shifting between human, shadow, and child. Ahmad stumbled back. "My family took me from here. They saved me." She shook her head slowly. "No, you ran. You were the only one fast enough." The walls pulsed. The air turned thick. Dust filled the hallway like falling ash. Ahmad grabbed his camera, the one thing still working, still recording. "I'm leaving," he said. The woman smiled. "Then run just like before." Ahmad sprinted out of the school, but the village around him had changed again. It wasn't present day. It wasn't the erasure day. It was his own childhood. He saw himself, a 9-year-old boy, standing in the middle of the road, crying, holding a broken camera. Tiny Ahmad whispered, "Please don't leave me here." Ahmad froze. "No, no, this isn't real." The woman's voice came from the rooftops. "This is your memory, the one you buried." The child stared at him with empty, terrified eyes. "You promised," the boy whispered. "You promised you'd come back." Ahmad couldn't breathe. This wasn't the valley haunting him. This was his own guilt. Dozens of villagers began to appear around him, all faceless, all frozen in the moment of their erasure. They circled him slowly. Then every single one of them turned their head toward him at the exact same time. Ahmad felt his legs go weak. They moved closer. Hands reached out, cold, weightless, like they were made of smoke and bone. The child version of Ahmad appeared again, now faceless too. He whispered with a voice not his own, "You left us once, you won't leave again." Ahmad turned and ran. The villagers followed silently, their feet never touching the ground. At the center of the village, Ahmad collapsed near a dried-up well. The woman in white appeared above it, descending slowly until her feet touched the ground. But now, she wasn't a woman at all. Her body flickered like a glitch. Her limbs bent in wrong directions. Her face split down the middle, revealing endless darkness inside. She was the valley itself, a living curse, a collective hunger. She spoke with 1,000 voices layered together. "We were forgotten. We were erased. You escaped, so you must remember 4US." Ahmad yelled, "What do you want from me?" She stretched out her hand. "Become our story." The villagers closed in. Darkness tightened around him like fingers around a throat. Ahmad clutched his camera. "I am not staying here," he shouted. The woman's voice turned into a scream. "Then give us a memory to feed on." The ground split open. Houses crumbled like sand. The sky tore apart horizontally, revealing pure void above. The valley was unraveling, pulling itself into a black hole. Ahmad ran toward the broken exit bridge, the same place he was trapped in part 1. But now something was different. A faint trail of light, thin as a thread, stretched across the broken gap. It looked like a memory, his memory, the day he escaped as a child. His 9-year-old self appeared beside him, holding a rope made of light. "Jump," the child said. Ahmad hesitated. The woman screamed behind him, her voice shaking the ground. "You belong to US?" The faceless villagers lunged forward. The valley roared like a dying beast. Ahmad grabbed the rope and leaped across the void. Light swallowed him whole. Ahmad jumps into the unknown. We don't know yet if he escaped the valley or fell into another memory trap. Nobody escapes because the place lets them go. They escape because the place wants them to remember. Kund Valley never wanted Ahmad dead. It needed him alive. A witness, a carrier of its last memory. Ahmad fell through the rope of light, weightless, breathless, as the collapsing valley screamed below him. The world blurred into streaks of white and black. His ears rang. His vision shook. Then he slammed onto the ground. Grass, real grass, fresh air, birds. He looked around. He was outside the valley, the forest road, the broken signpost, the exact place he entered. Ahmad dropped to his knees and laughed, half relief, half madness. He was out, or so he thought. But something was wrong. The air was too still. The trees didn't move. Birds chirped in loops, the same sound repeating every few seconds. Like a corrupted audio file. Ahmad walked toward the forest road, but each step felt heavy. He checked his camera. It was still recording, but the timer wasn't moving. 0 and 0 seconds, 0 and 0 seconds, 0 and 0 seconds frozen. He whispered, "No, no, please." He turned the camera around to film himself. But there was nothing in the frame, not the trees, not the sky. Not the ground, just black smoke swirling behind him. Ahmad wasn't outside the valley, he was in its memory. A cold wind rose, the world dimmed, and from the smoke the woman stepped forward, not twisted, not monstrous. Human, beautiful. "Calm," she said softly, "you jumped too early." Ahmad backed away. "No, I crossed the bridge, I escaped." She shook her head. "You crossed a memory of the bridge, not the real one." The forest cracked open, the trees bending inward like ribs of a giant cage. Ahmad fell backward, shaking. "Please, I just want to go home." She knelt beside him. "Then take us with you." His heart stopped. "What?" Her eyes shimmered black. "Carry our story into the world, let people remember us. Let people speak our names again, only then will the valley release you." Ahmad whispered, "But what if I don't?" The woman smiled. "Then you stay here forever." The faceless villagers appeared behind her, forming a silent army. Ahmad screamed and ran. He sprinted to the edge of the forest, and there it was, a real wooden bridge, not broken, not collapsed. Intact, untouched. Behind him, the villagers began to dissolve into black fog, rushing after him like a tidal wave. Ahmad ran onto the bridge, but every step made it rot beneath his feet. The wood cracked, ropes snapped. The valley roared, "Don't leave US again!" Ahmad leaped, the bridge exploding under him, and rolled onto solid ground. Real ground. He turned back, the valley was gone, just trees, silence, night. He finally escaped, this time for real. He dropped his camera, fell to the ground, and sobbed. Hours later, sunrise broke through the forest. Ahmad walked back toward civilization, exhausted and shaking. A truck driver spotted him on the roadside. "Hey, you okay?" the driver shouted. Ahmad forced a nod. "Where are you coming from?" the driver asked. Ahmad hesitated. Then he said the words he never should have spoken. "Kund Valley." The driver froze. "Kund Valley? That place was erased 20 years ago. No one even remembers where it was." Ahmad nodded slowly. "Now they will." He lifted his camera. The recording light was blinking red. Recording, still recording. The driver whispered, "What's that on your back?" Ahmad turned. He couldn't see it, but we can. On his back, pressed into his shirt like a burned-in handprint, was the shape of a faceless palm. The valley hadn't let go. It had attached itself to him, not to kill him, but to leave with him. Ahmad whispered one last line as the camera feed glitched. "If you're watching this, it means the valley found you too." The screen cuts to black.